All right, let's get into it. You're seeing the clip, you know the vibe. Shannon Sharpe tries to poke at Dak Prescott, and Osa Odighizuwa straight up ends the conversation. That moment alone tells you everything you need to know about how players inside that building feel. And honestly, it's the kind of reaction fans have been wanting to hear for years. Listen, when a teammate stands up on a national platform and says, plain and simple, "I will tolerate no Dak Prescott slander," that's not just bravado. That's a culture shift. Osa doesn't stumble around it. He calls out the narrative, defends the work ethic, and forces the conversation back where it belongs. On the field and in the locker room, not in sound bites. From the transcript you gave me, the lines that hit hardest are the ones where Osa talks about what Dak brings every day. First in, last out. The consistency, the leadership that drags an entire room up. That's the kind of defense that doesn't just protect a name, it protects a standard for how teammates treat each other. Now, let me be blunt with you as a fan. We've seen franchises where quarterbacks are protected like that, and it pays off. When your guys have each other's backs publicly, it spills over into practice, into game day toughness, and yes, into respect around the league. Osa even pushes the conversation further when he asks, "Who else are you getting?" And that's the practical point people forget. Replacing a quarterback isn't a simple upgrade, exercise like swapping a helmet or signing a free agent. You don't just find a Malik or a machine overnight. Building around a leader who already knows the offense, knows the teammates, and commands the room has value you can't just buy. I want you to imagine being in that locker room, hearing a teammate defend you like that. It sinks into everything you do on the field. That's the energy Osa is talking about. For you watching right now, tell me straight. Did Osa do the right thing defending Dak? Hit the comments with yes or no, and I'll pin the best short answer. If you're feeling that same fire, smash that like button so more fans see this clip. And if you're not subscribed yet, help the channel hit our goal of 17,000 subscribers so we can keep bringing reactions like this and breaking down exactly what it means for the Cowboys. One thing I'll say up front, Osa didn't just call Dak a good player. He called him one of the best and backed it with specifics about his effort and how he elevates teammates. That's the strongest kind of defense because it's not personality, it's work. So when Shannon tried to frame Dak's recent play as questionable, Osa shut it down with evidence. Consistent work ethic, making teammates better, and winning performances. That's the kind of reply that changes headlines into context, and we need more of it from players who love their team. Before I wrap this piece up and move into why this matters long-term, I want you to do one thing for me in the comments. Write one short sentence that defends Dak. Something like, "He leads our team," or "He wins when it matters." Keep it short, keep it real, and I'll shout out the top comments in the next. You know, when I first heard what Osa Odighizuwa said on Nightcap, my reaction was probably the same as yours. I stopped everything I was doing, replayed the clip twice, and thought, finally, someone inside that locker room said out loud what so many Cowboys fans have been begging to hear for years. And the funniest part is that Osa didn't even let Shannon Sharpe get the sentence out. He cut him off with the kind of confidence that only comes from a guy who has seen Dak Prescott work up close every single day. You could hear it in his voice. No hesitation, no nervous laughter. Just a straight-up message. There will be no Dak Prescott slander, not while he's in the room. And honestly, when was the last time you saw a Cowboys player handle a national media personality like that? Not dance around the question. Not give the typical, "Well, we believe in Dak," media line. No. Osa checked him immediately, like a teammate is supposed to. And this is where the culture shift really shows. You can feel that this Cowboys team is different. Not perfect, not flawless, but different in a way that actually matters. For years, outside voices have taken shots at Dak, without much pushback from players. Fans defend him. Coaches defend him. But players going on national platforms and shutting down the narrative before it even starts? That has been rare. And the impact of that moment goes far beyond one interview. When a defensive leader stands up like that, it sends a direct message to the entire locker room. We defend our own. We defend our quarterback. And if you're part of this team, you better match that energy. I want you to think about something. When Shannon Sharpe starts that question, he's trying to shape a narrative. That's what those shows do. They test players. They poke at storylines. And Dak has been one of the biggest storylines in the NFL for years. But this time, it didn't go as planned. Because Osa didn't wait for the narrative. He shut it down before it could even begin. And you have to love that. That's a real teammate. That's a real leader. And it makes you wonder why we haven't seen more of that before. Maybe this locker room is finally tired of letting people outside dictate the story. Maybe they're tired of the slander that's followed Dak for far too long. And maybe this is the spark that pulls the team even closer together as the season intensifies. Let me ask you something because I genuinely want to know. Do you think this moment says more about Dak or more about the shift happening inside the Cowboys locker room? Drop a simple yes or no in the comments. Yes, if you think the locker room culture is changing. No, if you think this is just an Osa thing. I want to see where you stand. And before we go deeper, let me talk to you one-on-one. Because you come back to this channel for real Cowboys talk. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and help us push toward our goal of 17,000 subscribers. Every single person who joins helps us bring more Cowboys fans together and keeps videos like this coming. And of course, like the video if you're rocking with what Osa did. That support genuinely helps the channel more than you might realize. Now, in the next part, we're going to dive into exactly why Osa's words hit so hard, why Dak's leadership keeps coming up from players behind the scenes, and what this moment reveals about the identity of this team. When you really break down what Osa said after shutting down Shannon Sharpe, you start to understand why his words carried so much weight. This wasn't a teammate giving a polite pat-on-the-back compliment. This was a player who has spent years inside the building, who has watched Dak Prescott day in and day out, who has seen the work, the preparation, and the pressure, and still chose to plant his flag and say, without hesitation, that Dak is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And he didn't just say it now, while Dak is playing at an elite level. Osa made it clear that he has always believed it. Even during the stretches when Dak didn't look his best, even during seasons when fans and analysts were divided, Osa said he stood on that hill. That's not casual support. That's loyalty built on first-hand evidence. And think about what that means coming from a defensive tackle. This isn't a wide receiver praising his quarterback to make sure he keeps getting targets. This isn't a coach giving safe press conference answers. This is a defensive player who practices against Dak every week, who studies tape, who watches the way the offense moves with Dak running the show. When Osa says a healthy Dak is one of the best quarterbacks in football, he's saying it because he's seen it with his own eyes, up close, without the distractions and storylines that the outside world tries to attach to him. And then he took it even further. Not only did he defend Dak's talent, he challenged the entire narrative that fans and media throw around so casually. Every Cowboy fan has heard it at some point. You need a new quarterback, or Dak can't get it done, or just go get someone better. And Osa asked the question that nobody ever seems to answer honestly. Who? Who exactly do people think the Cowboys are going to get? Elite quarterbacks don't shake loose on the market. Teams don't just hand them away. And even if a big name becomes available, what are the chances the Cowboys are actually in the position to land him? Osa said out loud what most fans already know, but rarely hear players admit publicly. Replacing a quarterback is one of the riskiest, hardest moves in the NFL. And that's why this moment matters. When players speak truth like this, it forces people to look past the talking points and admit the reality. The Cowboys already have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And when your own locker room says it with this level of confidence, it strengthens the team in ways that statistics and highlight clips can't measure. It builds trust. It builds unity. It builds that us against the world identity that every great team needs. Let me ask you directly, because I want to gauge how you see it. Do you agree with Osa's point? Do you think Dak is already a top quarterback? Or do you think people still undervalue him because of past narratives? Drop your answer in the comments. One word: overvalued or undervalued. I'm curious to see which side the fan base leans toward after hearing Osa speak this boldly. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this breakdown and you want more videos where we dig into what players are really saying behind these national conversations, make sure you subscribe to help us get closer to 17,000 subscribers. And if you're already subscribed, drop a like to show you're locked in with us. That support keeps this community growing and helps the channel bring you even better Cowboys content. Up next, we're going to break down the exact moment Shannon Sharpe realized he was not going to win this exchange, why Osa's tone shifted the entire room, and how this moment on a national show actually reveals something powerful about the Cowboys' mindset right now. What really made this exchange unforgettable wasn't just what Osa said, but how quickly he said it. Before Shannon Sharpe could even finish the setup to his question, Osa cut him off with a calm but iron-sharp statement. He would not tolerate any Dak Prescott slander. That moment changed the entire tone of the conversation. You could see it on Shannon's face immediately. He wasn't expecting pushback, and he definitely wasn't expecting pushback that strong, that direct, and that controlled. It wasn't emotional. It wasn't defensive. It was authoritative. It was the voice of a player who has lived the truth he's defending. And that's why the moment landed so hard with fans. Cowboys players for years have listened to analysts dissect Dak, doubt Dak, and diminish what he brings to the franchise. But you almost never see a player fire back like that, especially on the critic's own show. That's what made this so powerful. Osa didn't raise his voice. He didn't take shots. He simply drew a line and stood on it. It told you something about where the Cowboys are mentally. They aren't brushing off the noise anymore. They're challenging it. And look at how Shannon tried to guide the conversation. He started with a compliment, acknowledging Dak has been playing some of the best football he's seen from him in years. But even in that compliment, you could hear the familiar undertone. The setup almost sounded like, sure, he's good right now, but... And that's the part Osa shut down instantly. He made it clear he wasn't going to entertain the idea that Dak's high-level play is some rare, temporary thing. To Osa, this is who Dak is. This is who Dak has been. And he said it in a way that forced everyone watching, Shannon included, to confront the possibility that maybe players know more about quarterbacks than people on the outside want to admit. What made the moment hit even harder was how Osa backed it up. He didn't fall back on generic phrases. He explained exactly why he stands so firmly behind Dak. The consistency, the leadership, the work ethic, the example he sets. And when a defensive lineman says Dak is the first one in and the last one out, that says everything. These guys don't notice that casually. They notice it because it affects the entire culture of the building. And that's the piece Shannon wasn't ready for. You could feel the shift. The energy went from media critique to player reality. And once that switch happens, the media angle becomes irrelevant. Osa wasn't debating. He was informing. He was saying, here's the truth from inside the locker room whether you like it or not. That's why this clip went viral. It wasn't staged. It wasn't polished. It was honest. Let me throw this question to you because your answer here says a lot about how you view this team's ceiling. Do you think this type of public defense, this unity, shows that the Cowboys locker room is stronger this year compared to past seasons? Just drop a yes or no. I want to see how many fans feel that shift happening. And before we move into the next part, where we break down why Osa's message matters for the team's identity going forward, make sure you're subscribed to help the channel reach that 17,000 subscriber goal. Your support keeps this community alive and helps push Cowboys content to the top where it belongs. And if you haven't already, hit the like button so this video keeps climbing in the algorithm and more fans can see what Osa said. Next, we'll dive into what Osa revealed about Dak's work ethic, what that means for the rest of the roster, and why this one moment might actually reflect a deeper change happening inside the Cowboys organization. All right, my friend. Now that we've broken everything down, the reactions, the locker room pulse, the playoff stakes, and the momentum, let's close this out the right way. Just you and me, Cowboys fan to Cowboys fan. This win didn't fix every problem. It didn't crown the Cowboys. It didn't eliminate the doubts. But it did something just as important. It proved this team still has fight, still has belief, and still has control over its destiny heading into the final stretch. Let me throw a question directly to you. Answer in the comments. Do you genuinely trust this Cowboys team to finish strong? Yes or no? And why? Because here's the truth. The road ahead is not easy. You know it. I know it. The NFC knows it. But when this team locks in, when the defense hits, when Dak, Lamb, and this offense play with rhythm, they can hang with anyone. And now? It's Lions Week, meaning this momentum must carry over. If the Cowboys punch the Lions in the mouth early, we are looking at a legit leap in the NFC playoff picture. Before we wrap, let me leave you with this. Be proud of this win. Celebrate it. Be grateful for the moments that bring us together. Football, family, and the memories that stick with us long after the season ends. If you're here right now, watching to the end, you are the heart of Cowboys Nation. Help us reach $17,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next breakdown, and drop a like to push this video to more Cowboys fans. You know it helps more than you think. And don't go anywhere. The next video is already in production, and you're going to want to see it.